Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And Secretary Buttigieg, thank you very much for being here. And thank you for your commitment to the American people. Thank you for being in Louisiana. DOT awarded over $70 million to New Orleans RTA to buy zero-emission vehicles and charging equipment through the BIL low and no emissions technology. This is proving to be an incredible thing for my region. These vehicles can also be equipped to use microgrids in the event of a disaster. We hope that these vehicles can be used to provide support for our first responders and immediate disaster response teams, and then used in our disaster recovery to supplement the vast network of microgrids being stood up in my district right now. Tell me, Mr. Secretary, do you believe, or I should say, what role do you believe DOTD serves in research and development of dynamic hazard mitigation and clean technology in an ever-changing world where clean technology is so needed?
We think that there's an important federal role. I don't want to overstate the importance of the public sector relative to the private and the academic sector. Each part has their role. But we do fund basic research, and we fund ways to prove out the safety benefits of some of these technologies through facilities like those overseen by NHTSA and Federal Highways. And we certainly see enormous potential for these technologies to continue to develop, continue to potentially save lives in American transportation.
So additional projects that I just want to note and thank you for: $2 million for the Brownsfield Cleanup Grant for the Naval Support Activity in New Orleans, $24 million for the RAISE Grant, New Orleans Downtown Transit Center, $8 million for the Louis Armstrong International Airport, $100 million for the energy awarded Cora, $100 million to help build the first U.S. manufacturing plant for lithium, hexafluorous phosphate, go figure if I got that right or not, which will help vastly improve our domestic lithium-ion battery production. One thing that is very important that I want to bring to your attention, when traveling through the river parishes and visiting with the mayor of Donaldsonville, Mayor Sullivan, indicated that there were these antiquated gas pipes that had been passed over for many, many years, and many people had come through the town and made promises of being able to do something about it. I took the bait. I stepped up and said, we're going to do something about it. We're not going to let the buck continue to be passed. And Mr. Secretary, I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I told him, and it turned out to be the truth. I told him that we had a president and administration that understood the need to right the wrongs that had been in the past, to provide equitable infrastructure. And I'm proud to call and tell him that we delivered on it. Delivered on it because of the ability to pass the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, which changed lives. What role do you see this administration's spending packages like IJA and IRA playing in redressing past wrongs and providing truly equitable infrastructure information for those communities that have historically been left behind?
Well, thank you, Representative, and I join you in celebrating the funding and the jobs that are coming to your area and to so many areas thanks to the IIJA. I also appreciate you mentioning the issue of pipes and pipelines, because it's not something that is often is publicized in the context of our work, but we've been able to benefit the safety improvements that are needed on a number of pipes operated by smaller entities that might not be able to do that otherwise, including one that I was able to visit in New Mexico. And more broadly to your question, there are so many communities, neighborhoods, and towns that did not get their fair share of the benefit of previous rounds of federal infrastructure investment. And what's at stake when we talk about equity, when we talk about Justice 40, when we talk about reconnecting communities, is to make sure that this time is different and better.
Can I pause you right there, because I got 32 seconds. Reconnecting communities is a very important point for us to segue. As you know, the Claiborne Corridor in my district in LAO2 in Louisiana is a perfect example of a community that was divided because of an interstate that went through a once thriving community of African-American businesses and home ownership, totally devastated it. I know that we received some planning money to further look at that. Just want to continue to put that on your radar screen as what I believe would be a perfect example of how United Communities can really work as an example for the rest of the world to see. And lastly, in my final 3 seconds, I've talked to you multiple times about little town of Gretna. Gretna, about a town that is a beautiful, quaint community that's threatened by rails to go through the community. I'll continue to ask for your support in coming up with some meaningful ways to resolve and protect that neighborhood while recognizing the importance of commerce. There's got to be better ways to go around the city instead of through the city. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Understood.
Gentleman's
Thank
time
you.
has expired.